Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good evening and welcome. And I want to welcome you all to my podcast. It's a live podcast and it's broadcast around the world. It's being transmitted there. And so you just heard from Vincent Davis talk about his question and answers on Saturday. Please attend that. I've moved my time up on Saturday so that everybody can focus on attending his podcast. He's doing that for free for you all listeners out there with your CPS case. It'll repeat again at the end of my podcast about his questions, answers. Now, you found me on Facebook, How to Fight CPS, Bob Pace. Tonight, we are fighting CPS and stop taking our children. Now, I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day, once at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and once again at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's for 1 hour. And the only exception to that is on Fridays. I have it's Friday Night Lights with high school football season. I'll be attending a football game, so my podcast will be on earlier, 3 or 4. I'll let you know as we get close to it. Also, this Saturday, I start my show at 8 o'clock instead of 10, so that a lot of people can see Mr. Davis's podcast. And on Sunday, I start at 8 because I have church I go to. So those are exceptions, but I'll let you know with plenty of time. Now, I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. There are 7 rooms that are connected to here, that one of 7 ways you can find me. We have the law offices of Vincent W. Davis and Associates. Then we have another room with me fighting CPS with Bob Pace. Then we have a third room, Top Secret, How to Fight CPS with Vincent Davis. That's Vincent Davis's podcast. Then we got Juvenile Dependency. And then we got Relatives Fight CPS. Then we got the reality series, the horror stories. And then we got Mrs. G, Real Talk with Mrs. G, Fight CPS, Real Talk. And then I got the YouTube CPS defense strategy. So all 7 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I'm sorry, there's 8 of them, including the YouTube. Link you all to this podcast that's live. And I see somebody new there below the reality series. Looks like we got somebody in there. Anyway, there are 4 ways you can interact with this podcast. One way is you found it right here, and you're at my room, and I welcome you, and I'll talk to you more about each of the 4 steps. The second way is that you can text a message, type a message to me, either your comment or question about CPS. The third way is to be a guest on the podcast, and to be a guest on a podcast, I'll explain to how to do it. And then the fourth way is my phone number we put up. You can call me directly during the podcast and talk to me. Those are the 4 ways in the podcast. Now, there are 4 or 5 rules that I've come up with that will help you. I'm going to briefly talk about them, then talk about them again. The first one is you need to find an attorney. This is open heart surgery that you're doing with the child protection system. It's like open heart surgery, so you need a professional dependency family law juvenile attorney. That's a juvenile family dependency law attorney. And I'll talk about that. Second rule is you need to organize your paperwork into a notebook, and you need to create a timeline of incidents. Again, I'll talk further about that. My third rule is you do not talk to social workers or police, and you don't open the door, and you don't let them in your home, and you don't let them take your children. Also, talk about medical trafficking too. And then my fourth rule is to research the internet about your CPS case. You got to spend at least 60 hours to really get a thorough understanding about your case. And lastly is to create a medical folder, or not necessarily a medical folder, but a legal document folder of all your child's records and your records and so forth. Things like birth certificates, social security numbers, copies of marriage license, copies of driver's license. They give you all copies, but you need to have this folder handy. Your grade reports, things like that. I'll talk more about that. Now, I've mentioned CPS. Now, what I call CPS is a government agency that's mandated by Congress. It's a branch of social services that watch our children. And they watch our children by receiving phone calls from professional laymen about complaints about you and your children with CPS. Now, they're supposed to protect our children from neglect or abuse, and they're supposed to investigate within 24 hours of receiving the call. The only bad thing about it is that once you receive the call, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. Now, further, CPS is supposed to help you out families in need, like if you need food, clothing, shelter, transportation, education, medical, and even a job. They're supposed to do that. And lastly, if they need to break your family up because there's imminent danger, and I mean imminent danger, they seem to want to take your child no matter what. They're supposed to bring it back together and do family reunification. Family reunification, where they put the children back together with the family, because studies have shown that the best parents are the biological parents. The best parents are the biological parents. Now, I will talk more in depth about these rules and about the 4 ways to interact with the podcast. I also have people that are regulars that come in here that talk all the time about their situations in case. And I also have over 75 tabs open up to talk about topics like the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978, or the 388 motion, or the JV 160 motion. There's lots of things I can talk about: how to file a complaint against a judge, against a social worker, both at the local level, the county level, and so forth. So every state will have a different acronym. I know, like Arizona is Department of Children's Services, DCS, but I call it CPS. So anytime I mention CPS, I mean all the child protection systems in every state and every county. So now I've briefly talked about the 5 rules and talk about how they interact with the podcast. And at this time, there's lots of ways we can go. We can talk about the rules. We can talk about how this podcast interact. We can talk about my topics. We also talk about the questions, answers, and core digest. Now, I know that there's a guest we're going to have on the show tonight that's going to talk about a new development in their case of about 12 years old. 12 years that they've been fighting CPS. 12 years that they've been fighting CPS. Okay. Let's go back to the interacting in the podcast. I'd mentioned about the first way is being in this room. And being in this room, you can show emojis like smiley faces, thumbs up, or happy faces. And you can also give me stars too. You can show stars. Please check below that if you want to subscribe. I love to have subscribers.
Yes, hello. You have reached my voicemail. I'm unavailable to take your call right now. If you could leave your...
I was hoping to get a hold of my guest tonight, but it sounds like they are busy at the moment. Anyway, I'm broadcasting from home, and if you hear some background noises, it's the dinner. I fixed dinner and served the family dinner, and they got them fed there. So anyway, going back to this room, all you can do is you can do emojis, you can take notes and listen, and hopefully you can learn something from this. I'm here to help you. I've been involved CPS fighting for 15 years. I'm a family man, been married twice, first for 10 years. Marriage ended, not that I wanted to, but it did. And then I have a second marriage of 32 years. I have 3 children with my second wife and 1 child with my first wife. And then she had 2 children with her. So our family is a family of 6. And so I have a lot of experiences with young children, teenage children, and older children. So I should be able to help you. My case was awful. It was so bad that our social worker retaliated and forced her daughter to leave her parents and do crazy things at the age of 12. I for 5 years, right after I lost my job through fault of my own at age 60, I've been working for 45 years. And at age 60, I lost my job. And I was out there looking for work, and I started receiving phone calls from the child protection system in Orange County, California. I live in Surf City, USA, south of LA, south of Long Beach, north of Newport. And I'm about 3 blocks from the beach. And Orange County was a real bad experience for me. They were getting about $60,000 for 3 of my children who they kidnapped and forced them into foster care. That's the goal that over 500 people have told me, including myself, that the goal is to get the kids into foster care and have them adopted. They want that money. It's $1 trillion business. It's really bad. It's really corrupt. They really have gone way too far. And I hear case after case, day after day. I'm twice a day. I do 14 shows a week. I've been doing this for over a year, and I've talked to over 500 people. And I have that experience. For 5 years, I was able to keep CPS away from me by showing them that the accusations that some lay people were making against me and my wife weren't true. It was her parents and her family, her brothers and sisters, that were every week calling up with some ridiculous remark like we weren't paying the utilities, we weren't taking the kids to school, we weren't feeding the kids, we weren't giving baths, we weren't doing clothing, we never watched the kids. It was all these ridiculous stuff that was so outlandish. And CPS was determined to find something. That's what they tried to do. They housed you. They knew that I lost my job and I had a big mortgage to pay and knew I didn't have money for an attorney. I had to end up selling my home to get an attorney. And that was the sad part because I worked for, 40 years to get that home. That took me a long time, 60-hour weeks, working 5 days a week, 10-hour days. So that was hard. It really left me impact, but it makes me want to help you all. I really want to help you. I wish I had a wand that I could wave and tell you that everything will be all right. So besides in this room where you can, do emojis or listen or talk, you can also text me a message. Now, I'd like to welcome some people that have come into the room here. We have Deanna Robinson. I am so afraid to spend money or send money after what Janelle did to me. I don't know who Janelle is. Huh. I don't know what you meant by that, Deanna. You need your part of your thing is not thrown. I can't see it that well. Now, Dana Lyon Thornton and Deanna, I don't know where you're from. So if you could tell me your city and state. Dana says, how long do I have to file a complaint against a social worker and a judge? You should do all complaints, all appeals within 30 days. Statute of limitations will vary state to state. You're from Ventura, California. Welcome from Ventura, California. I'm glad you did that. Somehow my comments, all three of them, and if you're hearing me, Grace, I have 3 comments now that are on top of the reality series, the CPS horror stories. Diane, 2 of her comments are pasted on the Facebook, the reality series. I'm trying to move them. I don't know if I can drag them down. Nope, they won't drag. But Deanna, I don't know if anything's missing from her. Now, I don't know how that got on there, but let me take that off. Oh, boy. Okay. All right. So there is a little bit of glitch tonight on my podcast. And Grace, if you can look at it and see if you can help me out, that'd be much appreciated. By the way, Grace is my show producer that works behind the scenes, that keeps the show smooth and affords me to do the podcast. So now, if you wanted to, I mentioned to you, you could text me comments and so forth. How do you do that? Well, all you do is that you just type in a comment, which is a question, a comment, text that into me. All I ask in return is you show your first name, your city or county, and then your city or county, and then your state. Now, if you're outside the United States, you're from a country, because right now we have about 15 countries that now have text in here. We just recently picked up Lebanon 2 days ago, and about a couple weeks ago, we picked up Saudi Arabia. So we have people from Bangladesh, people from New Delhi, India, from the Middle East, from Lebanon, and from Saudi Arabia. And then we have Africa from Liberia, which is in northwest Africa on the coast. And then in Central East Africa, we got Rwanda near Lake Victoria. Then I got Mozambique on the east coast, opposite Madagascar. And then on the west coast in South Africa, I have that West Coast province there. And I need to work on the name of that West Coast province. Then going to Europe, I've had England, Scotland, Wales, which is a part of the United Kingdom. And then I've had Denmark and Sweden. Across the pond, I've had North America, and I've had Canada, like Alberta, and British Columbia, where from Vancouver, and Ontario, Quebec, several countries, several people from several provinces in Canada. I've had all 50 states, including Washington, D.C., that have texted or called in, some repeatedly from the same state. And then I have south of the border, Mexico. We had a person calling from Mexico City looking for his daughters in Louisiana. And then down in South America, I've had Grenada, which is east of Venezuela, north of Brazil, on the South America continent on the east coast. And then across the Pacific Ocean to the land down under, I've had Australia, I've had the east coast, the Gold Coast area of Sydney, and then the south coast of Australia near Melbourne, and then in the state of Victoria. So I've had a good number of countries. And so it is open. Now, type in that comment or question, get it to me by texting in there with that additional information. Now, with the countries, all I need is your city, your province, and your country. If it's states too, I know some are called provinces. And then I ask you also to be complete with your case. If you could tell me a little about your family makeup with your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, lovers, or are you just a partnership? And what are the ages of children, the sexes of children? Are both parents involved, or are you a single parent doing this? Or different parents with different children? So give me kind of the makeup of the family. Also, what were the allegations besides neglect and abuse? A little bit more details. And then also the how were the children if they were taken from you, from your home? Did you let them go? Did you give them away? Did you not talk to them? I'd like to know the information. I'm trying to comply everything across the country. And then also where you at in your case, the beginning or the end. So that you text. It's the second way. Now, a third way to interact with this podcast is to be a guest on my show. Now, it's very important if you're a guest on my show that you write into my show producer, Grace. Her email is grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. All you have to do is say, I want to be on Bob's morning show, evening show, Saturday show, Friday show. You just say the show you want to be on. And she'll send you a link to StreamYard to get on the application and be on the show. You'll be the same way as I am with a screen video and be able to talk. Now I can take up to 9 other people, including myself, would be 10. So I can have 9 additional people be on my show on the screen, and you all can talk about your cases. She'll go over the rules like no smoking or eating on the show. And we do not use the children's, the social workers, or the judges' names. And then she'll go over other things that would help you with the show. She'll be right there to help you all along. In return, and I'll ask you, you can get 15 minutes of free consultation time with Mr. Davis. And I mean the word free. If you're on my show and you're a guest of my show, I'll ask you if you would like that. And then all I have you do is send your name, email, and phone number to Grace@VincentW.com, and she'll take care of the rest. Now, lastly, I'm going to put up my phone number. That means I can go live, and people can call in. And my office number is 626-698-0990. That's the direct line to my phone. I'll put you on speakerphone. You too will get a chance to have a free 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis, either as a guest on my show or as a speaker on my show on my phone. All I need to know is if you want that, and then I need you to have you send your email, your phone number, your name to my show producer, Grace@VincentWDavis.com. So those are the 4 ways. By being in this room, using emojis, and sending me stars, thumbs up, smiley faces, hearts are really great. Make sure you check below. You want to subscribe to me, and further, if you want to be notified when I'm on. And I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you as much as I can because I don't want to see you do what I did with a very corrupt agency. You're like Alice in Wonderland. You fell in this rabbit hole in the garden, you met the Chester cat, and now you've gone to all these rooms that go nowhere. And so that's what the child protection system is. It's a government agency where you'll go nowhere and your children are stolen, trafficking, and alienated from you. All three of those things are against the law. But somehow the child protection system can do it because no one's standing up to them. And people have tried to stand up to them. In fact, there's some people that are dead that tried to stand up to them. Okay, we had three people early on. We had Deanna Robinson, and she said, I'm so afraid to spend money or send money after what Mail Janelle did to me. And I need to know more information, Deanna. I need to know where you're from, the city and state. Now, Diane Lane Thornton is from Ventura, California. And again, I welcome her. And she was asking, how long do I file a complaint against a social judge? Shouldn't wait more than 30 days. And then she said something new now. Dana now says, I just renewed my foster care license. So you're a foster care mother. Great. Welcome. And my daughter is due in February. Her last baby, I fought 10 months, $43,000. The judge sold, the judge said she had to stay in foster care because it took too long for me to be licensed. I don't understand if you're having a baby, what that's got to do with foster care. Foster care, what I know about and with the CPS, is a rush program to bring parents in that want to be foster parents to adopt children so quickly. The normal adoption process takes years to do, and there's a lot of vetting that goes on, a lot of checkout by the state and the federal on your background. Also, you have to go through training and workshops, and it's a lot of money. Now, foster care in the CPS system is corrupt, and it goes really fast, and they have children themselves and abuse the foster care children. They also boss. So I don't know what's your situation. You say that you need to renew your foster care license, and your daughter, so that means your grandma, is due in February. Her last baby, I fought 10 months with $43,000, and the judge said she had to stay in foster care because it took too long for me to be licensed. And I don't know why she was taken from her mother. And two workers said, I'll never adopt a baby from this county. I'm 55, married, a nurse, and not even a traffic ticket on my record. You sound like a great foster mom, and I don't understand why Ventura County has a problem with you being a foster in their system. I want to adopt my daughter's baby if it's taken. Okay, you can adopt the baby if you want to. Why can't the baby stay with your daughter? What is wrong with your daughter? What did your daughter do to upset CPS, the child protection system? You can get a guardianship of the baby too, by the way. You don't necessarily have to adopt a baby. You can get legal guardianship of the baby too. Dana says she was put in the express lane, Ventura, ultra corrupt. Okay, I don't know who was put in the express lane. Was that your daughter? She must have done something. What were your daughter's allegations? Now, you say this is baby number 3. What about baby 1 and 2? Who has those 2 babies? Okay, so you said your daughter was doing drugs. Drugs is a no-no. Drugs and children don't mix. but she could still be a good mom if she goes to a drug rehab program and tests free for a year, taking drug tests, and shows that she has no drugs in her system. She can still raise her family. It sounds like your daughter doesn't want to raise a child. Now you say it's number 3. Who has number 1 and number 2? And what's the situation on those two? So your daughter had problems with drugs. CPS definitely is worried that your daughter may neglect her children, your grandchildren. So she was charged. And so she has to do a program. Doesn't mean she cannot still be a mother unless she's too unfit to be a mother. Now, if you want to adopt a child, and it's interesting because you're a foster care mother already, and you're with the Ventura Child Protection System. And so, can you give me a little bit more information? Okay, Diana says further. She says, can I get guardianship before the baby is born? I believe you can. But again, you're going to need to get an attorney here because your problem is you're dealing with a very specialized case and you're fighting an agency that has lots of money, that is corrupt, and all they want to do is get more money from children. So, and then the baby was drug exposed. So the baby had drugs in his system. And baby number 1 lives with me. And baby number 2 lives with the dad. Okay, so grandma has baby 1. The father of, I guess, baby 2 is with him. Now, baby 3, now is the father of baby 3 the father that also has baby 2? Or is that a different dad? It seems like your daughter is just making babies with different men. Okay, so there's 3 different biological fathers. Baby 1 is with you. Baby 2 is with the biological father of baby 2. And the biological father of baby 3, is he want to be involved with baby 3? The mother is, your daughter's pregnant. Does he want any involvement with the baby? All these fathers should be given child support. All these fathers should be helping out your daughter and you with child support. It takes money to raise kids, and it's wrong if these fathers are not helping out, because you can gain support from all 3 of those children from 3 different fathers. But the problem is, it sounds like your daughter is not able to raise kids or take care of kids. Deanna says, oh, there's 4 babies. Oh, wow, this gets more and more complicated. Okay, now this 3rd father is a biological father of baby 3 and baby 4. Now, is he involved with baby 3 and 4? Wait a minute, she's pregnant with baby 3. Is she having twins? I'm confused now. I'm really confused how your daughter can have 2 separate babies. She had baby 1, which you have. She gave up baby 2 to the biological father of the 2nd father that she's with. And now with the third father, you said that he's the father of baby 3 and 4, but 3 is not born. And so I don't understand how she could have 4 babies unless, well, that doesn't make sense. I understand fathers have multiple babies. Oh, she was expecting 4. Okay, 3 was adopted out. Who adopted number 3? Who adopted number 3? Okay, baby 4 is due this February coming up. That's fine. Also, if you have an open case of CPS, she's not supposed to have babies. It's in the laws of child protection system. If you have an open case involvement with CPS, you're not supposed to have any more children because this is really complicated. You got 4 babies, and I believe it's 4 different fathers. And it sounds like none of the fathers are taking responsibility except baby number 2 is with the biological father, so maybe he is helping out there. But the father of baby 3, what is he doing? And what is the father of baby 4 doing? How are they involved in the picture? That's great. They're with foster parents. Okay. So the biological father for number 3 and number 4 are not involved. They've disappeared. Are they incarcerated? Dana, can you help me out there? I'm trying to get hold of our guests on the show tonight. It's a new development with the ombudsperson in Kentucky. She has a new development there. She's been fighting her case for 13 years. But doesn't seem to be answering, so let me try another way of trying to get a hold of her. Anyway, the person I'm trying to get a hold of is named Faye Manley. She's a single mom. She has 2 children. She grew up in foster care in and out 5 times. She was abused in foster care where she was raped and molested and tortured. And she came to a point where after 5 times, she finally was able to finish high school and get a college degree and move on with her life. But because she was in foster care, she had children later in adult life, and one of the childs was taken from her. It was a very corrupt situation, a very, very, very corrupt situation. She had to make a decision. She had to make a decision. Okay, so the father of baby 3 and baby 4 are the same. He's working, so I'm glad he has a job. That is important. That is important. But you say that baby number 3 is in foster care. Why can't he be with the father? Now, I know the mother has drugs, your daughter has drugs, but why can't he not be with the baby father number 3 and 4 that's on the way? To all you listeners out there, I'm open to phone calls. I'm at 626 698 0990. That's direct line to my phone. Now, if you need to hire question, go ahead, Jeff Martinez. What part of the world, and welcome, Jeff, are you from? What city and state or county and state? I'm waiting for your question there. We've been talking to Dana, who has a really complicated case. Her granddaughter has had 4 babies. She's pregnant with baby number 4, but she had babies 1, 2, and 3. Baby 1 is with the grandmother. Baby 2 is with the second father. So she's had 3 fathers. Baby 3 and 4 by the same father. He's working. And I'd asked him a question, why can't that baby 3 be with the father? But she says he's with foster parents. So there must be something wrong with the father. There must be something wrong with the father. Go ahead, Jeff, and ask your question. And if you want to call in, Jeff, my phone line's open, 626 698 0990. Okay, there's something wrong with Vonage now. It says no calls connectivity. Let me go ahead and find out what's wrong here. Okay. All right. So now we'll see if get this going here. We had several of you call in this morning. We had area code 217 615. And a Rachel Kuda that called in at 10:06, 10:26, 10:27, 10:28. And then this afternoon, I'm not on, but we had area code 209 call. So if you 5 would like to call in, you're perfectly welcome to. Plus, I'd like to hear from Jeff and Dana too. Jeff, are you still working on where you're from and in your question? I'm standing by for you. How long have you studied law? Well, I introduced myself that I'm not a lawyer. I've been studying law for 15 years, actually a little bit longer than that, because I do claims, construction claims. And why I speak about CPS, because for 15 years, I've been fighting them and trying to get my family back together. So that's where my background comes from, talking to over 500 people. So hopefully that answers your question, Jeff. What is the city and state, and where are you from, Jeff, so I can help you further? Hold on a second here. Hold on. I'm back again. I had a little interruptions there. Um, Texas, Austin, Texas, Jeff. Well, thank you so much. And hopefully I answered your question. Diana says, okay, the social worker um, lied at the trial, and that is why their rights were terminated. Well, what did the social worker lie about? What were the accusations against the baby father number 3 and number 4? What was the accusations against him? Your daughter said she had drugs, so I know why they won't put the child with the mother that does drugs. That's not good, and she needs to go through a drug program and be tested free for a year. Now, I know that Vonage has been having some problems. That's my work number, but I cannot text on Vonage. I can only text to my show producer. I don't know why it's only selective to her, but we're working on that. Right now, I'm trying to get a hold of my guest that wanted to ask about or wanted to share a new development in her case in Richmond, Kentucky.
Yes, hello. You have
Okay, apparently my guest is still having troubles or something there. Let me go ahead. We have Jeff. Is there any other question you'd like me to help you? Any other question I can help you with? Most of the information I get is from firsthand experience because I had a case myself involving my 3 children that were stolen. Now, I've been married twice. I said I've been married once for 10 years and once for 22 years. I have a total of 6 children, and I'm a family man. My case was really bizarre because for the first 5 years after I lost my job through no fault of my own, I was constantly harassed by the child protection system and the Orange County system of California. And my 3 children were not in danger, but they were put into danger when they were trafficking and fostered into a foster shelter. And so a lot of these things, Jeff, I've learned also from listening to the many hundreds of people I've talked to, not only from the United States, from around the world. We have 15 countries. John, can you hand me? Okay. I should be back. I got some interruptions tonight. With all podcasts, this is live. And unfortunately, I'm doing this without a studio. I wish I had a studio here. Now, Diane, um, do you know what baby father 3 and baby father 4, it's the same father, what the social worker lied that he did? What did he lie that he did? Now, I have about 10 minutes left of my podcast. Now, I mentioned my rules early on, and since no one's really talking right now, I'll go over my rules in depth. The very first rule I said was that you need to get an attorney, and that attorney's background has got to be in the area of dependency law with family and juvenile. It's called juvenile family dependency law. That means you're involved with minors 18 and younger, under the age of 18, and you're dealing with families and you're dealing with dependency law. That's the law that governs the child protection system. So any attorney that you have that's representing you must have that background. And that's the first question you want to ask any attorney. And then the second thing you should ask any attorney Have they ever fought a civil lawsuit, either at the state or federal, and won against CPS? If the answers to those questions are yes, yes, then you're in the right step of identifying an attorney. Now, Mr. Davis, who talked very briefly at the beginning of my show, is that kind of man. He has 35 years in the business. He's a trial attorney. He has fought CPS and won cases and got children back. He's also done civil lawsuits, both federal and the state level, and won millions of dollars against them for being as corrupt. They've committed perjury. My social worker committed perjury on the witness stand and retaliation. You have to understand, as I was telling you, you're like Alice in Wonderland in all these weird rooms going nowhere. You're dealing with, you need a professional. And that's why I try and identify you need an attorney. A lot of you tell me, well, I got a court-appointed attorney. Well, the court-appointed attorney has a caseload of 30 or more clients. They're not going to have time for your case. They won't talk to you out of court. The only time they talk to you is when you see you're at your hearing. And they're not going to fight your case. They're going to look for the easiest way to resolve your case. It's not going to be in your favor. They're also criminal attorneys just starting out in law. They're at the low end of the spectrum. Their experience is nil. And I've not heard of any really success stories using a court-appointed attorney. CPSs hope you use one because they screw up. And if your children have a court-appointed attorney and you parents have a court-appointed attorney, then you're set for your case to failure and you will lose your kids. So I'm talking about a real family juvenile dependency lawyer. And that's Mr. Davis. And it's not to say you have to use him, but he is available. And I already told you, he'll talk to you for 15 minutes for free. All you have to do is be a guest on my podcast, or you can call in, and that will qualify you for 15-minute consultation. Now, if you want 30 minutes, he'll do it for a small fee of $60. He will talk to you for 30 minutes with a private Zoom consultation. And that is with Mr. Davis for 30 minutes for $60. All you need to do is go to the website, https://candly, CALENDLY.com/apps, APPTSVWD/Bob Pace, BOBPACE. And you can use your credit card and sign up for that 30 minutes and talk to the real person. He'll fight cases. He has a case in Oklahoma. He has a case in LA and Orange County in Northern California. The law offices are in Arcadia, south of Los Angeles in California. But he'll talk to you about your cases and he will represent you. He does charge a retainer. So you have to be aware, and he'll discuss the amount of the retainer with you. And it varies because when he goes out of his city area, he has transportation, airfare, ground transportation, hotel, and food to pay for. So that's the additional cost. His legal fees are pretty much the same whether you're in Oklahoma or you're in California. So it's so imperative that you get an attorney. I waited kind of late getting one. I wish I didn't. I had to sell my home to get Mr. Davis, and he got my 2 boys back. We lost my daughter only because she committed perjury on the stand and lied. And my attorney caught her in her lie, and she said to us parents that she retaliated. So she forced our daughter to emancipate from the parents. She was 12 years old. So she divorced us, her 2 brothers, her grandparents, her aunts, uncles, and cousins. It was a terrible thing she did. She changed her name completely. Her first, middle, last name were new. And then she sealed her birth certificate, got a new birth certificate with adopted foster care parents, a new social security card. And to date, she has not talked to mom and dad. I do encourage our sons to talk to their sister. So there is some touch. I do hear she's done it, but my case was terrible. And it was all based on neglect because unfortunately, my dad had passed away in 2013, and I was sorting through his home, and I had all his belongings in my home. And they thought because I had the belongings in one room of the house that it was going to hurt the children. They had their own private bedrooms, private bathrooms. There was a formal dining room. It was, a 2-story home with large vaults, brand new. It was only, 15 years old home, and it was very huge. So there's no endangerment there. They did that so they get their $20,000 per child. That's $60,000 they're getting 2 months. If you have 100 parents with 3 children, that's $6 million a month that they're collecting. It's all about money. That's how corrupt they are. So you need the attorney to fight them. There's no question about that. Now, rule number 2 I talked to you about was organize your documents. And that's where you get a notebook in 11 by 8.5 inches, 3 inches thick with 3 rings. Stuff it full of college rule notebook paper. Get some dividers and put your subject matter on them. Get at least 20 dividers and divide all your documents. You're going to have your court documents. You're going to have your certificates of completion of parenting classes, of programs that you complete. You're going to have your drug tests and so forth. You need to put all that in your notebook. But the most important document is your timeline of your incidents. It's your timeline of incidents. Now, you can have incidents with everybody, the police, the child protection social workers, the school, the parents, other siblings, the other people. So you put the incident, you put the date, the time, the location, and the people involved in the first line. The next line, you put a description, a 1-sentence description of what the incident was about. And on the third line, you put the outcome. If you don't know the outcome, leave a blank and fill it in when you get the outcome. But you'll do that for the life of your case. And that way, 6 months, a year from now, or 2 years from now, you can look back and see what was transpiring. Because that information is so valuable when you're speaking to the judge or attorney or anything else. So organize your paperwork. 3 is you do not have to open a door to anybody. Too many people lately have opened doors and been shot dead. There was a gentleman, a black gentleman, who was in the Air Force that was shot point blank because they're investigating domestic violence and they had the wrong place. And he died on FaceTime just by instant door. There was a woman arguing with the sheriff and she was shot in the face 5 times and killed. There was a Korean lady that had some mental issues and she's shot by 2 policemen and killed when they opened the door. So you never open a door. You never do. I mean, if there's a fire going on, yes. If there's fighting or domestic violence going on and 2 people are fighting each other with guns and weapons, you're going to have to let the police in. You're going to have to let the social workers in because that's a dangerous situation. But if you know the children are with you, everything's quiet, then remain quiet in the house. They'll leave something on how they get a hold of them if it's that important, or they'll call you later. Now, if you do talk to them on the phone, tell them you need to have your attorney present and set up a neutral spot to meet. Not your home, not their home or their office, but a neutral place like McDonald's or Starbucks, some place where you can sit there and talk without your children and talk about what they're talking about with your attorney present. Your attorney will tell you what to say and not to say. You don't have to talk to social workers or police. You don't have to. It has to be court ordered. And that is a warrant that's issued by a judge and signed by a judge, and then the wet signature is stamped. There's a hand stamp by the clerk that raises the signature so no one can duplicate it. Also, look at the date. The date's got to be a regular work date, not a holiday and not the weekend. Then it's not a legitimate form. Don't accept PDF files. Don't accept a computer one. They can be all sit there and they can be met with. You have to see a live one with a wet signature. And on it very specifically says the names of the party involved, including the children. It'll tell you the allegations, and then further it'll give you the address of the place. Then it's going to tell you what date and time they can do the investigation and what they can do, like talk to you, like take your child or something like that. They have to go to the judge to get that warrant. And it's not a very easy thing to get. So you don't need to talk to them. You don't need to let them in your home. And if you're outside, tell them that you will take their information and get a hold of your attorney and they'll get back to you. That's one way you get out from dealing with them. And don't forget medical trafficking. Medical trafficking is where they take your child. So I'm going to have to finish now because it's been 1 hour since my podcast has been going on. And I want to thank you all for all your questions and talking to me. Thank you, Jeff, from Austin, Texas. I hope you come again to my show. Thank you, Dan. I hope I was able to help you with your issues. And I think I had Deanna Robinson. I have no idea. I think you've been on here before. But anyway, God bless you all. Keep fighting for your case. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And this is Bob Pace saying God bless and keep working to get your kids back. And you're going to hear Vincent Davis talk about his Saturday show.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.